Hello class, here is the Nikon Intervalometer. Got my hands on one of those MC-36, so this should look like what you all have. I played around with it for a few minutes, and it is very much like the Canon one, and actually I like it. It's got a few features the Canon one doesn't that I like. So basic operation, we've got a light feature here. It's pretty simple. Then it says slash lock. If we hold it down for about 5 seconds, a big old L will appear here, and then basically no matter what I push, nothing's going to happen, and it's locked. So we hold it down again for that L to disappear. Now it's unlocked. We have a really simple start stop. Start that. You can hear a camera in the background. So it's just what it sounds like. That's your start and stop button. Then down here, this is the bulb long exposure. If you set your camera to bulb mode and then use this, it's like putting your finger on the shutter and holding it down. So the camera's firing right now, and it gives a countdown for how long the camera's open. If I let go, that stops. Now this also has that sliding switch feature. Push it in, slide it forward. See the red's exposed? That signifies that the shutter is open on the camera. And that red's not a light, it's just a simple paint color, so when the switch goes forward, it exposes the red. Push in the button, slide it down, and the camera shutter closes, the counter resets. So we're going to touch about this one next, but these are basic ones. Light, start, stop, and then your bulb shutter or remote control shutter. Now, the main operation all happens on this directional set pad. And it's pretty straightforward here. We're going to use the left and right side to navigate through. You notice that black bar up there is letting us know where we're at. Delay, we're here, so if I hit right, we go to the right, keep cycling through. If I hit left, we keep going through. So that's the basic ways to move through the menu, really straightforward. So let's talk about what's on here, and then we'll talk about how to set it. The delay is, and you can see delay, that is the timer for any action to begin. So basically delay is used as a countdown before anything starts. If you set up your camera somewhere and you don't want the time lapse to start for another 30 minutes to 2 hours, this is where you would take care of that. And then once that counts down, then whatever we have set up underneath of it will begin going on. The next one is long, and that stands for long exposure. And this is used in bulb mode where if we're doing astrophotography and you need exposures longer than 30 seconds, then here is where you would use this to do that. So you could set this to a 40-second exposure, or a 5-minute exposure, or an hour-long exposure. But this is what you do it for long exposure. Next is interval, and that's at INTVL, stands for interval. And this is the main intervalometer function. This is the piece that makes the time lapse happen. Whatever we set it to, it will tell the camera to fire off one shot every that many seconds. And then next is N, and I guess it stands for number. I don't know why they used N, but N is going to be how many frames the camera will shoot before it just stops. And I'll show you that, but we'll get into that later. And then the arrow key is the sound. It makes a beeper, which I'm playing around with it. I hated it. So let's start there, and then we'll work our way back. We hit this. Now you notice I hit set. I'll do it again so you can see. So right now that's your main menu. I hit set in the center of the thumb pad. It starts blinking. I use up and down to change the values. So here's where it's currently, and that's where the music arrow is crossed out. Then hit it, and now the music arrow is on. So I hit set again to lock in that thing, and now it's going to beep anytime that we make changes. Honestly, I can't stand it. I'm turning it off right now. So I go to set, change the value with the up or down. Now we're back to no sound. Hit set again, and we've locked in that feature. N, again, this is the frames that the thing is going to shoot. I hit set to change it. Now set is blinking, so that means I'm in the mode where it's going to change the value. Use up or down, and you can see it counts up 1, 2, blah, blah, blah. If I go down, it'll quickly reverse to its maximum of 399, and then I can go further down from there. I recommend you don't use this feature unless you have something specifically in mind. For the time being, just lock it to no limit, and this way it'll keep firing until you tell it to stop it to. It's really easy to set this to some number and then forget about it, and then when you go to your next time lapse, you forgot that it's locked in, and you think you're going to get 300 frames, and it turns out it's to 50, and then you walk away and you come back and found out it only shot 50 frames. So be safe. Put it to unlimited, and you can control it. All right, so we go to intervalometer. And again, using the left and right arrows to move over. So we're at intervalometer. And this is the main one that we're going to use. This controls how many seconds per shot. It looks like it always defaults at 1. And the Canon's the same way also. So even if I try to set it to 0, it'll always go to 1 at least. But let's say we want to have one shot every 5 seconds. We hit set. Now I get the blinking set. And then it starts blinking which value I'm in. Currently this is hours over here. The middle zeros are minutes and seconds. So if I hit up or down, I can change my shots every hour. I think we have one shot every 99 hours. It's not necessary. So let's put hours at 0. And then we use the right arrow to move over to minutes. And again, this would be good for astrophotography, but not worrying about it. So like plants growing or whatnot. You know, you get a shot or for every 10 minutes or something. But we're going to deal with seconds right now. So we go right arrow over again. Now we're blinking in the seconds margin. And using the up or down arrow to select the values. So a real common one is one shot every 5 seconds. I'll hit set to lock it in when I've got the values how I want them. So set. Then you notice it stops blinking and now it's going. If I hit start stop right now, it'll do a countdown. So let's see, 5, 1, 2. All right. You can hear the camera over here firing away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So that's what that is. Let's stop it, and we'll leave that alone. So next is the long exposure, and again, this is with that bulb mode where it acts as if someone's holding down the button, the shutter button. And if you wanted an exposure longer than 30 seconds, this is where you could do it. So we hit set. We don't want hours, we don't want minutes, we go here. And this time, it's a little quicker to go backwards. And I just hit the down arrow instead of the up arrow, and it just starts me up there. And so right here I could hit set, and now this thing would have my camera do a 45-second exposure, either one time or as many times as I wanted to. But that's how it is. We'll clear that out right now. Let's back up. One funny thing that I noticed. So right now I'm in this long exposure mode. It's in the seconds. If I use left, we go back to minutes. If I go right, we're at seconds. Now you would think if I hit right that it would go back to hours, but it doesn't. It goes to the next mode, and then it has there. So if you notice it jumping around, pay attention to what mode you're in. If you're in the furthest right field, which is always the seconds, and hit right or hit over to the right, it'll take you to the next bracket there. So be aware of that. Alright, so we're in long exposure. We're going to leave that alone. And then last is delay. And again, this is the timer before anything happens. So we hit that. And let's say we wanted like a 5-minute delay before anything happens. We hit it here. And then this counts as a 5-minute delay. So currently, this would count down 5 minutes and then take a picture every 5 seconds. Let's watch it. Well, actually, let's do something where we can view it happen. Oh, you can't. Yeah, there we go. Hold it down and it starts going faster. Okay, so I have it set for a 15-second countdown, and then we'll take a picture every 5 seconds. Let's see what happens here. Let's bring this camera on over and start things up. So I hit start stop, just so you can see the countdown. Hit start. Countdown begins. That'll go down to 0, and then when it does, it will kick over to whatever the interval is and begin firing off. So here we go. Let's see. 5, 4, 3, 2. You hear that? Now we're at the interval screen. It's going to fire off every 5 seconds. So that's how it works. Really simple. I'm really impressed with this intervalometer. I like it. So if you have it, congrats. Let's hit start stop. There we go. One thing I heard from my friend is that these joints here on the the end and also the spot where it goes into the camera. You know, it's a really rugged unit, but for whatever reason, this rubber is not good at cold temps. And so he said when it's cold out, be very careful about how hard you flex it here at the joints, because this rubber has cracked from being too cold and getting too much stress. So just be aware of that. That doesn't mean you can't take it out in the wintertime. Just don't bend it over super hard when it's really cold out, because you'll probably crack that rubber. But we're talking super cold, like 20 degrees and below and whatnot. So there you go, guys. Nikon MC-36, and yeah, I like it. Battery compartment in the back, just like the Canons. There's no on or off, so if you want to save battery power, you're worried about it, you can take the batteries out. Nice unit, and at least for this D200, it plugs in the front right there. So if you have any other questions, let me know.